ways of critical thinking skills and communicating across cultures and ethnicities and nations, in fact. Extending those learning environments beyond the school place, and then within the school place, finding personalized learning experiences which can be tailored to a child who is a struggling reader, being able to move that forward. So the paper really calls for four major things: a new investment in R&D for mobile learning, and let's take a look at these things seriously and get the National Institute of Health focused on the effects of brain on behavioral development. And it outlines a set of R&D activities which should be undertaken. Let's establish a digital teacher corps. I think this is a really great idea which we will have some real impact in Washington and the new administration to prepare educators for using these new devices, working with teachers' colleges and education colleges across the country to figure out a way where we can have teachers who are really linguistically proficient in digital learning. Creating a White House initiative on digital learning, and by both auditing current investments across the federal government and state governments. And let's get away from this typical approach in Washington, which is so focused on wiring and connecting the schools and the hardware piece. Let's get a focus on the software piece. Let's get a focus on how do we create digital learning platforms which are focused on maximizing these potentials. And then gradually, and this is obviously sort of a third rail of mobile learning, if you might, eliminating classroom bans once we have gotten our heads around appropriate behaviors and figuring out a place where we can work with teachers so that these kinds of disruptive activities don't stand in the way of progress as we're moving forward. So I urge you to take a look at this paper. It's been released across the country this morning, and we've gotten a lot of pickup, and we hope that things like the Digital Teacher Corps will be built into our national policy agenda to really get each of you engaged in a new mobile learning revolution, which we hope we are kicking off with our colleagues today in Las Vegas. Just a couple of final things. We also did a wonderful project called PanWAPA, which the Merrill Lynch Foundation supported, which is a prototype of a world mobile program where kids were able to connect the dots and learn about mobile citizenry, not knowing much about Ethiopia, yet they could connect with a child in Ethiopia in a love of soccer or a love of pizza, let's say. And a child in Japan or a child in India could connect, or in Brazil. And we actually took this onto a platform. And here is a child in Central Park who is playing with a mobile device through the PanWAPA platform, pulling up content of other PanWAPA kids. So this is a child who's pulling up content from an African country that other kids in that African country have placed onto this platform. And he can actually learn about what's going on. And you can see this is a 6-year-old who is not tutored, who is being able to navigate his way through the world and learn about the world and learn about this country in the middle of Central Park. And it's a pretty cool application, which we think we're just scratching the surface. And finally, I want to put out the program which we were so excited about, and I was even thrilled beyond belief walking into the Venetian Hotel next to the casino. On your way down next to the food court, there's 2 beautiful posters of our new program, the Electric Company, which we are bringing back thanks to the U.S. Department of Education and CPB and our partners at PBS, which is really going to try to tackle that sweet spot of 2nd and 3rd graders who might be struggling readers. And we have created an immersive, hip, funny show which brings back some of that great humor from the original show in the 1970s, which launched people like Morgan Freeman, and I see a few smiles in the audience here, of people who grew up with the show. And now we've brought an amazing cast, and people like Sean Kingston and Wyclef Jean and Jimmy Fallon and Whoopi Goldberg and all kinds of people who have jumped in and who have created just an amazing program that we think is going to blow people away. will have a huge appeal. It's premiering a week from Monday in a 2-hour special block on Martin Luther King Day, and then it will run weekly on Fridays and on the weekends, and then this September it will be on every day. So we're really thrilled. But what's happened with the electric company is we knew that just putting the show up on television would not get the job done. That we've got to reach kids in the environment where they are. And so we decided to adopt a strategy that went way beyond television into interactive games and tools to create your own raps, rhymes, comic strips. The whole point of the show is about motivation. It is about vocabulary learning. It is about getting kids to learn the love of language and begin to use it as an activity. So let's bring this home through the web. Let's bring it home through print and books.